Hello everyone, welcome to Hokie Track Chats. I am host today, Francisco, and we will be discussing several aspects of the student's life at different stages in college and what families can do to support their students. I am here with
Trent Fox. I'm a second year computer engineering student here at Tech, and I'm a NSFP intern on the marketing track.
I'm Walt. I am a third year clinical neuroscience major, and I'm an undergrad office assistant at NSFP.
I am a second year, a sophomore student in industrial systems engineering, and I am a NSFP intern in the programming track. And all right, let's get into this episode of Hokie Track Chats. We're gonna cover today navigating the college structure and advising. What has been the major learning experience for us up to this point in school? Some study tips, and what parents can do to help draw out success in their students. So starting with navigating college infrastructure and advising, let's start off with choosing majors. Wow, what made you choose neuroscience? Like, what drove you to do that?
I initially started with biology, and I found that bio was really broad for what I was interested in. I've always really been interested in the brain and why it functions, and Tech has a perfect neuroscience program for that. So I decided to switch into the neuroscience program. It's also really good for anyone interested in the pre-med track.
Going a little bit into Virginia Tech's, I want to say most known majors, engineering.
Yeah.
Me and Trent are engineers, and Trent, why made you choose electrical, right?
No,
Computer.
Close, but no. So engineering, obviously, this school is so well known for engineering. Going in, I knew I wanted to do computer. I was thinking about doing computer science, but I switched from that, wanted to do more hardware because there's just so many options. And even within computer engineering, there's 7 different sub majors within that you can choose. So you can get really specific. So that's why I wanted to go with computer engineering.
Nice. Well, what about choosing classes? I know that's a very tedious topic among freshmen and incoming students. What would you say?
Yeah.
How has your experience been on choosing classes?
I don't think I've ever gotten a single class that I actually... No, I've gotten them, but I haven't gotten the right time slots. So you just got to be patient and work with what you get, in my experience at least.
With the way Tech does class selection is you will eventually take what you need to take.
Right.
It just might not be in the order you're initially presented at. It's a computer system that assigns you to classes. So you'll put in the course request, and then you'll either you'll get what you need, or you'll get to take it eventually. Typically, you're assisted by an advisor, and the process is pretty straightforward.
It's a straightforward process.
Yeah.
It's just getting the classes that you need. And yeah, you're right. Eventually you will get them. And engineering, going into your first year, you're basically guaranteed to get into the intro engineering courses as long as you declare general engineering.
With college of science majors, and probably all but engineering, the path is pretty linear, so there's not much backwards competition. So as you progress down that path, it gets easier to get into those classes. And with most college of science majors, you're not really taking a major specific course until your second or third semester. So they typically have enough seats in those intro level classes to accommodate for those people.
We're gonna touch on advising. I just wanna give my 2 cents on what you guys said.
Okay.
And it's gonna tie in with advising. I think that whether you don't know what major you wanna do, for any incoming freshman, in choosing classes, I would say your best way to go is just email your advisor. They know a lot. They can help you. Set up a time to meet with them in Zoom. They have appointments. I know my advisor my first year was wonderful, Miss Jessica Elmore. She always helped me with everything. She always looked out for me when choosing classes. And if you're really stuck, really emailing them is the best thing you can do, and that will literally help you all the way. And I don't know what has been your experience with advisors.
I neglected them a lot. I met with my computer engineering advisor for the first time this year, this entire school year, just about a month ago.
Don't do that. Don't.
No, I'm a
Once
bad
you get
example.
a
I'm a
major
bad
advisor,
example.
Meet with them.
You meet with them
straight away.
before you get your specific major advisor. Meet with them as soon as possible. But I'm a bad example, so I can't really talk on how much they help. But the one time the most recent time was very helpful. I understood how to change my major from computer engineering to one of those sub-engineering majors, chip scale.
Yeah, it's pretty great because their job is to help you, help guide you. They're kind of, it's almost the first person I email is my advisor if I have any questions or concerns. It's like, okay, what should I do about this? What should I do about that? I kind of want to take this class, but I also want to take this class. How can I move all of this around? And some advisors not all advisors are the same, but my advisor experience is always like, how are you doing? So it's a kind of like a wellness, well-being check-in first, and then moving on from there, kind of talking more academically and how you're doing. They're also, I don't know if any other pre-professional programs have this, but Virginia Tech has health professions advising, and they help guide you to whatever health profession career you're interested in. So they're very knowledgeable in the pre-med path, pre-PT, pre-PA, and I highly recommend meeting with them a couple times as you progress, so you can figure out if you're meeting the prereqs and the requirements for example, med school. Are you taking your organic chemistries? How are you performing in those? And what's your likelihood of your applications? They also do mock interviews and other things like that. So I highly recommend, if you are considering pre-health pathway, meeting with them.
I didn't even know we had that sort of thing.
Yeah, I also use that. Well, I'll say this from the Career and Professional Development Center. You can just Google them and it'll show you a lot of their information. They do a lot of that. Basically, you have a lot of advisors at VT. You have your academic advisor that can help you choose classes, decide what you want to go into major. But then you also have career advisors, and they basically help you define what you want to do, where you want to work. They help you get internships. So whichever one it is, you should honestly look into both if you're a new student, incoming student, even if you're a current student. And more than that, VT has the resources, and it's just up to you to really take advantage of it.
One of those being the Student Success Center. They've helped me write my resume like 3 times now. So
yeah, there's also a writing center. The financial aid office offers some
even though it's like outside
advice.
of the realm of technically advising, it's very much informative.
In short, if you're an incoming student or current student, you need help with something, VT 99% sure has it. You email your advisor, hey, how could I get help to find an internship? Boom, they'll direct you to career and professional development. We even have nutritionists that can help you find a diet. We have everything. Going into a bit of pathways, I know that those can be annoying, especially since I haven't taken pathways in 1 whole year.
Yeah,
I have to take 3 next semester.
No, Galileo is technically a pathway.
Yeah, 1.
But
so
pathways. Francisco and I are both in the Galileo LLC.
Yeah,
I was at one point.
For those of you engineers who are gonna live in Galileo, there's a 1 credit class. It's not bad at all as long as you do the work. And from what Trent tells me, it counts as a pathway.
It does. It's pathways to.
It's an FYE course as well. First year experience.
Yeah.
Course.
Yes. Yeah. It counts as a few things. It's one of those classes like Engineering 101 where it has double. Physics is the same, or chemistry is.
But pathways itself, for those of you who don't know, is the kind of general education requirements that VT requires you to take. So you have to take like an art class. You have to take like not a psychology class, but humanity class.
Math.
Yeah, a lot of language.
Math.
I think language is a part of the
you can
humanities
language.
part.
I know language typically if you took it in high school.
If you took language in high school, that counts. Yes.
But it typically depends, like math, chemistries, sciences, and depending on your major, you'll automatically fulfill some of those pathways. But pathways are sort of one of those necessary evils. A lot of professionals like to see that you have a well-rounded education.
A
And
renaissance man to me.
right, you understand more than just your focus of field. So, yeah, you got your degree in science, but what else do you know? Obviously, you understand science. You have your bachelor's of science, but what else did you get out of your
Yeah.
time?
Yeah.
What did you take advantage of?
That's what the pathways are for.
Yes.
Yeah. Going into a little bit of major restricted classes. What do you guys know about that?
As you get higher in your education, because I'll be starting my 4th year here in the fall, the restricted classes kind of come down to no one else outside of that major needs to be taking that course because it is so outside of the scope of their degree. Typically, a restricted course has a basic course that anyone can take, and I don't mean basic as simple. I mean basic more as in the restricted electives in those classes typically require a large foundation from previous courses that a student would have taken. Trying to think of an example here, but from the neuroscience.
Like math 1225. Those for engineers, they take 1225, but there's a non-engineering version.
Right.
Right.
Anyone can take those courses, but that's kind of the gist of it is they're just classes that are sort of outside the scope of people who aren't that major.
Yeah.
Next,
Yeah.
Working while taking classes. That's a big one.
Yeah.
I know a lot of people here,
So we be doing.
they work while taking classes, whether you work at dining, rec sports, Squires, what's your experience working here?
Well,
While taking classes.
Yeah, we're all taking classes while also all working, and it's just been a balance. I spend most of my days, at least for this entire semester, it was 8 a.m. to 5 every single day on campus, and I would just kind of alternate between doing schoolwork and work, and it's worked for me. I just go home and continue to do homework, and it just never stops. But that's the life. So.
Virginia Tech has a lot of, I don't want to say restrictions, but they kind of regulate the amount you're allowed to work. And that's sort of their way to make sure you are focused on why you're here. At the end of the day, you are here to be a student. And I think the university really respects that in their employment opportunities. I can't speak for off-campus jobs, but at least I highly recommend, if need be, getting a campus job over an off-campus job.
And even working dining, a lot of the times you can, if you have a project or anything that's stressing you out, you could just call out. They do give you a certain number of call-out days, but that isn't necessarily constant. Circumstances are circumstances. So.
Yeah, I mean, working while taking classes, while it is hard, nobody will contradict that. It's definitely doable. You just need to have good time management skills. Mm-hmm. And also, time management skills are basically everything while taking classes. Yeah. Next, a really, really important one. What has been a major learning experience for you up to this point in school? Let's start with Walt.
Oh, wow. I've taken so many classes. I took a service learning course where we were in Floyd Elementary teaching first graders basic coding techniques. And it really sort of broadened my lens to different portions of education. So it's the fact that I'm here studying. I took a course that was almost completely the opposite of a traditional college course. And it really taught me that learning does not have to be textbook, lecture, notes, flashcards, quiz, test, grade. It can be you're going out doing a service, reflecting on it, getting a grade back. That has been one of the most meaningful learning experiences I've had.
For me, I think it was understanding that to be successful after college and to get internships and that sort of thing, you can't just go to class and do the work and get things done. You have to go out of your way, meet people, go to these internship fairs, go to these expos, all the sort of helpful tools that tech gives you all over the place and all the opportunities, and take advantage of as many of those as possible, because that will really help you secure an internship. Like just knowing people, getting a network out there, spending your entire day on LinkedIn, It's a. It works. It works. It really does.
I completely agree. Networking is so important to being successful inside and outside of college. Whether that's going to office hours with a professor or meeting with that advisor, kind of like we've talked about.
I would say my major learning experience, it was definitely, you need to be continuously doing work, continuously, working on something. It's good to take time off, but don't just procrastinate after you're done with class. Change things. Do schoolwork, then go to work, then do I don't know if you guys know, we get LinkedIn Learning for free. And you can do courses there and get certificates. So that's a pretty good tool. It puts you out there in the market. And like these guys said, networking is really everything. Networking helps you a lot. I landed my internship through networking. And networking is really everything. Study tips. Ooh, I don't really study.
You don't really study?
You probably
I don't
should.
really study.
No, bro.
I recommend a couple things. One, finding a group of people who are in your classes.
Yes.
Especially as you get deeper into your courses, you're going to see a lot of overlap. You're going to see a lot of people.
You get to a point where you just can't Google things. You have to talk to people who are also learning it.
I joke about that all the time. Is I'll Google something and a article will pop up, like a journal article. Yeah. It's like, oh, recently discovered. The journal article will have like 2019 or something. I'm like, I learned about this yesterday. Yeah. This article was published 2 years ago. You're gonna get to the point. Hopefully, I think that's the most exciting.
Being optimistic here, we're gonna help that people.
I really hope that your education gets to the point where you can't Google something, because that's truly when you are becoming an expert to where you're learning. But finding people who are sit next to you in every class. There have been people who've probably sat in me with the class since day one that I've never talked to, and that's probably like a huge thing that I wish I did differently. Just find people, go to office hours, ask for help. Do not throw the ego out the window. Ask for help.
Yeah, just go to office hours.
Ask for help.
Office hours are very helpful. 99% of teachers will be more than willing to just give you all their notes and talk your ear off for hours about stuff. So in a good way.
I would say my biggest studying tip is definitely don't think that you can study for 8 hours. Yeah. Because you really can't.
You have to take breaks.
And more than that, I don't think it's luckily. I think it's because I planned. I have not had to pull an all-nighter.
Yeah.
Ever.
You should never.
Realistically, if your time management is to the point where where you have to pull an all-nighter.
I know a lot of kids that had to pull all-nighters just because, I forgot I had to do this. It's one of my biggest pieces of advice when doing assignments, maybe studying, maybe counts for studying, is if you see something that's due on a Friday and it's Wednesday, then try to do it Thursday. That way, when it's Friday, you can do assignments that are due Saturday or Monday. So, always work ahead. Always work a day in advance. Yeah. If you can, work 2 days in advance, because that way you will never be caught up with deadlines. And you should not have to take an all-nighter. If you're going to study, wake up at around 10, 11, get at least 7-8 hours, study 2-3 hours, take a break, go eat, go outside. Don't play video games. Go outside. Get air. You need air on your brain.
Virginia Tech is really nice for getting outside.
Yeah. Something I've noticed, studying on a dead brain is way worse than not studying and just coming back to it later. Give it time. Give it some time to settle. Let it breathe. It's not all about just head to the pavement, just keep going. You gotta just let things simmer.
Yeah, definitely make sure you are not stuck in that sort of study limbo. Yeah. Take breaks, go get a snack, walk around, get out of whatever building you're studying in.
That too. Get out of Torg for 5 seconds, please.
Leave Torg, leave the library. I'm sure the air in there is not great.
Yeah, and I need seats. Move, I need a seat.
Yeah. Another great tip is instead of really studying everything 2 weeks before the test or a week, try to study a little bit every day. It's kind of hard because all the stuff you have to do, and then studying is not the same as doing assignments because there's no completion point. Only you can realize how much you studied. But I would say just reviewing homeworks or reviewing the notes from last week, the next week, would help you a lot because you're always remembering what to do, and in your brain, after a while, it just sticks in there. You remember because you saw it like every single day. It's like when you look at your phone every single day. You start to remember what you look at.
Yeah.
So
Read the textbook. It's really annoying to say, but
Cheesy.
read the textbook.
It do be.
Sometimes like the higher my classes get, the more I progress through these classes, the more vital the textbook becomes. So if you can figure out how to read some of these intro textbooks, then your life is going to be so much easier. I'm not going to say I'm perfect at reading the textbook, but if you're ever confused, consult the textbook. And if there's not a textbook, then
professor.
ask the professor or the TA.
Mm.
There's a TA.
Or reference manuals. A lot of, like, if you're working with, this is very specific to computer engineering, but I guess mechanical and other majors like that would work with it. But if you're working with a piece of hardware, there's going to be specific documentation on that piece of hardware. And I'm sure that also probably goes into something with neuro. I'm sure there's manuals on how to use certain machines and
yeah, we're typically when we're given a lab manual for anything, it tells you how to work the machine. That goes for the chem labs, for the bio labs, the OChem labs, physics labs. They'll teach. Well, there will be instructions on how to use the stuff you need, and then ask questions. Like I said before, don't be afraid to ask questions. You're here to learn.
Going into what parents out there can do to help draw success in us is be supportive in several ways. I mean, what I can think of is like, check in on us. I know I had to check in with my parents. They didn't really call me. Yeah, my roommate was different. His parents called him more. My parents never called me. I had to call mine. Be supportive. Instead of letting go, let them grow. So instead of telling us that, you miss us or something, give us encouragement. Send us some encouragement messages. Trust me, it goes a long way when you wake up and you see that. Hey, I hope you had a great day today. I hope you bang it out. Parents, keep an eye out on the Hokie Family Hub for opportunity for students. If you see something that you think your kid could benefit from, send us a message, call us, bother us, because it's gonna help us. And also gives us space. If we struggle, if we get a C on a test, don't really lash out on us. It's gonna happen. It's something normal. At the end of the day, what matters is that we bounce back and we keep going.
Just set healthy boundaries with you and your student. Honestly, you can set up a call schedule and grade expectations and all these things, but just don't end up being a cage around them. Don't end up being another stress on top of their life. Be there, be supportive, and be happy that they are going into greatness, hopefully, after college.
Yeah, it's quite an accomplishment to be here, and if they're here, they have worked to get here. Yeah. And I'd just say, like, this is really the place where your student is going to start finding themselves and really starting to learn more about themselves and their interests and what they're good at. And it's hard to figure out what you can do on your own when you are sort of trapped in a box. So definitely I recommend the phone schedule, the call schedule. That's something I set up with my parents where it was like, okay, text or call at least once a week. That kind of turned into every 2 weeks due to scheduling sometimes, and then now I regularly check in with my family.
Also, students, always remember your parents want you here, your parents love you, and call them, call your grandmother, call your sister. It goes a long way for you, but it probably goes even a longer way for them. And well, I hope you guys learned something from this episode of Hokie Track Chats. As students, we hope that you have taken away some knowledge that you can apply moving forward. Whether you're a new student, current student, parents, I hope you have learned some new methods and ways to approach letting your students go to college. And thank you to everyone listening, and we will catch you on the next episode of Hokie Track Chats. Thank you.
Hokie Track Chats is brought to you by new student family programs at Virginia Tech. For more frequent updates, follow us on social media at Hokies on Track on Facebook or Instagram. If you are not already, join the Hokie Family Hub, which can be found at our website, students.vt.edu/transition. Music is Sun Say Yes by JL Brock. Editing software is Audition.